Hey family, welcome back. Your girl Marshawn Olanio here. I am a shift relationship strategist where I help Black Christian women that are just sick and tired of being sick and tired. You don't know where you want to start or how to start to get your relationship to turn around. When I'm really trying to get you to understand that the relationship that you're trying to achieve has to start with yourself. So we have to start working on ourselves in order to get to that romantic relationship that is running smooth, as well as has the best communication, as well as feeling understood and things like that. So I help you to really get you together so you can show up and attract and or show up better in your current relationship or marriage. So that's who I am. That's who I help. Now, let's talk about how to approach difficult conversations, because a lot of times we want to have these conversations. We may be scared to have this conversation. We may have some fears behind the conversation that we specifically want to have, as well as how your partner or spouse could take the information that you want to have the conversation behind. And so I'm here today to help you to get through those difficult conversations. Yes, you still need to have them. This is where the relationship starts to break down, because you're not having the difficult conversations. The person that you're in a relationship doesn't want to have the difficult conversation. You or the person in a relationship that you're in a relationship with say that they'll come back to the conversation, but they never do. And so it's always swept up under the rug. And when you do not have solutions or resolve the things that are becoming mountains in your relationship, the distance keeps you two apart. And so I'm here to help you understand how to have or how to approach a difficult conversation. So let's go through these 7 things that I'm bringing to the table today. The first one is to acknowledge the difficulty of having this conversation. Listen, when you're going into the conversation, instead of just jumping right into it, and when we have a tendency to, our fears are in the way, we either come off too timid or we come off too rigid. I want you right in the middle. So acknowledging the fact that this conversation is difficult for you to have is something that can alleviate your stressful feelings as well as your partner's stressful feelings. Because whenever you say that you want to have a talk or have the talk, right, with a person, their defenses go up. So what you're trying to do is say, hey, this conversation that we must have, right? Because you want them to know that you still have to have the conversation. So this conversation that we must have, just know that it is difficult for me to bring this conversation to the table, but I know that we have to have it. So are you feeling a little anxiety behind this conversation? Because I know that I am, right? And so what that does is the icebreaker. It allows the defenses to go down. And so now you can get into what it is that you want to talk about. You've acknowledged the fact that you're fearful or afraid, and hopefully your spouse or partner is just as open. Whether the answer is yes or no, it really doesn't matter. What you're really trying to do is get your what you're trying to say out there to let your partner know, hey, I'm a little bit nervous about having this conversation, although we must still have this conversation, and then have the conversation, right? The second thing is making sure that you are being very specific about what you want. Now, I'm specifically saying this to my beautiful queens out there, because ladies, we have a tendency to talk in circles. And when we talk in circles, the men usually get lost on what the actual point is. What is it that you want him to take home? He's a little bit lost because you're talking in circles or talking around what you want him to really get from it. So be specific about the thing that you want to talk about and what you want out of that talk. That way he knows, okay, this is what we're actually talking about. This is what she's asking from me. And then he can decide if he wants to do it or not, right? But he knows exactly what the topic is about. He knows why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. He also knows what he could do in your eyes to win. And then he has a choice to make to actually do it. So be specific about what you want. Stick to the facts as much as possible, as well as get straight to them. Don't talk in circles, because you're going to lose him. And then you're going to be wondering why he did not do the thing that you asked him to do. He got lost. So be as specific and concise as possible when you're taking these things to your man. The third thing is pay attention to the timing. Like a lot of times we as a person, as the woman, we have something on our chest that we know that we need to get off, thinking that it's all about yourself. Sometimes you're thinking about it that it's all about you consciously. Most of the time we're doing it unconsciously, because I have this thing that I need to talk about. In order to get the thing that you want to talk about to be received by your partner or spouse, you have to now put yourself in his shoes. Is he coming in the house where he's slumped, head down, just tired and exhausted, and then you go blah 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 blah, shooting off your demands, your disappointments, etc., whatever the thing is, right? So pay attention to the timing, because just because you have something to say does not mean it's the right time to say said thing. Now, I want you to pay attention to what I just did. I did not say throw the conversation under the rug, never have it. I said pay attention to the timing in that particular time that you are going to talk to him. That's what I'm saying. Just pay attention to the timing, because it's not always just about yourself. You have to put yourself in the other person's shoes. And if I had a bad day, I don't want to hear none of this negative stuff that you bring into me, especially when we're learning how to be better communicators. If we're still learning how to be better communicators, then I don't want to hear your negativity when I'm first walking through the door, or every time you see me, there's something negative to bring to the table. Pay attention to the timing. The fourth thing is literally to stay focused on the problem. I have several clients that usually get wrapped up into the person, and then they start throwing daggers at the person and not daggers at the problem. So you have to remember that you want to stay laser focused on what the problem is, not your partner, not the other person. It's the problem that you have an issue with. Your partner may be doing that thing or contributing to you having the problem, but you never want to shame your partner. You never want to make them feel guilty or feeling like you're judging them, because you're never going to get the thing that you're asking for. You have to be humble enough to ask for what you want, but also, I didn't like when X, Y, and Z went down. This is why I didn't like it. Again, you're not attacking your partner or spouse. You are simply being specific and stating the facts about the problem. The facts about the problem, not problem that you specifically have with your partner, not digging into their character, not saying that, see, I knew that you was going to be a no good X, Y, and Z because your dad is a no good X, Y, and Z, and y'all two peas in a pod. Like, that's not going to get you the results that you're trying to achieve. So be specific, pay attention to timing, stay focused on the problem. Number 5 is to remember that you have to give up the need to wanting to be right all the time. Because just because you are addressing said issue, when you and your spouse are having honest conversations about whatever's happening, sometimes things are revealed that you had no idea was actually happening. And when that happens, now you're getting a better understanding, and clarity is being brought to the forefront of your brain, as well as to the forefront of your relationship that you didn't know needed to be brought to the forefront. So now you're getting a clearer picture of what your spouse is dealing with. So give up the need to be right or to feel like you already know all the answers as to why your spouse is doing this particular thing and doing it to you, because you're making it about you, which, of course, some of the things are about you, but sometimes it has nothing to do with you at all. But because your spouse is already ticked off about something, and then here you come adding to it, it does not allow the situation to go good. Now, he has to take responsibility for how he's responding and showing up. So I'm not putting that on you. That's all on him. But at the same time, what I want you to think about and remember is to control the things that you can control. And that literally boils down to yourself. You can control when you go speak to him. You can control needing to be right? You can control how you're responding, the tongue, the things that come out of your mouth, right? So you can control you. So stay thinking about and focused on the things that you can control, because you cannot control the way your partner or spouse responds, how they're showing up, the things that are coming out of their mouth, the things that they are doing as well as not doing, etc., etc., etc. Just cannot control any of that. The sixth thing is to know that you both can take a time out. You don't always have to get to a solution or to resolve an issue in one setting. Many of the issues can be settled in one setting. But if this is something new to you, or if you just haven't come to a resolution on your own, or when your spouse brings it to you, right? Or when you take it to your spouse, they haven't had a chance to think about the things that you've been thinking about. So now you can say, hey, this is heavy. You look like you're thinking. Do you want to take a time out? Yes or no, right? The yes could be yes. We'll come back to it. Make sure you go back to it. It could be like, give me an hour. Give him an hour. Get out of his face. Walk away. Do you, right? It could be, can we come back to this tomorrow? But sometimes conversations need time out. At least difficult conversations. They need time out. So you both have a chance to calm down and to collect your thoughts on the things that you want to bring back to the table. So you can now have an open discussion about the things that are happening. The seventh and final way to approach a difficult conversation is to listen in order to seek understanding. Remember when I just talked about you don't have to think that you're going to be right. You don't have to know all of the answers. And I also just mentioned that the thing that you thought was all about you, your spouse or partner may be dealing with some other stuff. So you want to take a pause and think about listening so you can get a better understanding. And actively listen, where you're asking follow-up questions when they're done speaking, which brings me to not interrupting, right? You are acknowledging what they're saying. You are giving them eye contact. You are really engaged in the conversation and the things that they're specifically saying, so you can get a better understanding, so you can ask better follow-up questions, so the both of you feel heard, understood, and appreciated. Please let me know if you have tried any of these particular steps in here on how to approach a difficult conversation your own. Please let me know, because I want to know how it went for you. So let me know down in the comment section below, because anytime that I have a difficult conversation, I kind of go through these, and I'm so used to doing it now that I'm able to listen. I'm able to ask follow-up questions. I'm able to pay attention to the timing. So you have to just get into practice. You have to practice doing these things so you can be better at it as well. I am your girl, Marshawn Lanio, your favorite shift relationship strategist. And I love you guys, and there's nothing that you can do about it. And I will see you on the next video. Deuces.